Welcome to Through the Drama. Kris and Lauren with you on this Wednesday. Hope everybody is having a fantastic hump day. LZ, would you like to keep us abreast of the news today?
There's so many puns to be had. I was thinking about how you just said hump day. All right, everybody. What kept us up last night? A big question for both of us. Should we get plastic surgery? We have been talking about all the latest celebrity reveals or hidden secrets of plastic surgery a lot lately, and there's another new one. And it's making us wonder, are we falling behind?
It just feels like, and I look, this is not new, plastic surgery, especially in Hollywood and celebrities, but it just really feels like we're being inundated with a lot of it right now. Like everybody's doing this.
Well, what we keep saying is that we appreciate when people are honest about what they've had done. And Kylie Jenner is the latest to join that crowd. So a fan on TikTok said, Kylie, I want boobs like yours. Can you please tell me exactly what you did? Here's the clip from that fan.
This is a TikTok for Kylie Jenner, okay? If you're not Kylie Jenner and you don't care about boob jobs, plastic surgery, just keep scrolling. Girl, please, can you just tell us? I promise you, my followers, lovely. Safe space on here. Please, can you just tell me, /us, /anyone that's interested, what it is that you asked for when you had your boobs done?
Incredibly complimentary. Yeah. And made its way to Kylie.
And I love the fact that she's like, I'm just going to shoot my shot. And what was interesting is up to this point, Kylie had denied the fact that she had any sort of augmentation.
Wait, really?
Yes. And she said there were other reasons why she looked so voluptuous, including a new Victoria's Secret bra. And so she had kind of denied having surgery. And then she just said, you know what? I'm just going to open up and be honest.
Okay, so I remember that she denied the lips for a long time. And that actually was a bit of a controversial moment because do you remember she sort of in tears broke down on Keeping Up with the Kardashians, said, yes, the truth is I have had my lips injected. I think we all were kind of suspicious of that. But I will say a bit of the issue that people took with that was she had marketed her Kylie Jenner makeup, her lip liner, her lip gloss. And it was marketed kind of from this false perspective, but then Kylie broke down in tears, said it was all from insecurity. Well, now we're seeing Kylie grow up and grow out from our very eyes. She has revealed.
Yes.
Kris, give us the exact procedure.
So she went to Dr. Garth Fisher, who, if you're in the Hollywood circle, he's very well known.
He's known as the boob guy.
He's the boob guy in Hollywood, in Beverly Hills. 445 cc's. Moderate profile.
I don't know what that means.
Half under the muscle.
No clue.
Silicone.
Okay.
That is the official medical. If you want the same augmentation as Kylie got, that's what she did.
So do you applaud Kylie for sharing it?
I do. Look, we have talked about this the last couple of weeks for different people coming out and some people denying it. Look, I don't care if you do or you don't. If you want to feel different, look different, if it makes you feel great and secure about yourself, that's fantastic. I don't see any reason to deny it. I don't understand the point.
Well, people think that celebrities deny it because it creates this unattainable beauty mystique that keeps them a celebrity, that keeps people working towards being, how can I look like Kylie and what can I do? And it maintains this aura about them that makes us all idolize them.
But most of the time, don't you feel it's just silly? Like, we know.
I think that we're all suspicious, but look at J-Lo. Again, she's denied everything and she's a beauty icon.
And I would say to J-Lo, we know.
I think we're watching Kylie truly grow up before our very eyes. She's still in her mid-20s. She's been on TV since she was a kid. And just like she eventually shared the truth about her lips, I think we're kind of seeing her be more comfortable in her own skin now. I will say, we got to wind down here, but it makes me wonder. I've thought about it. I think every woman has probably thought about a boob job at some point. I mean, maybe not every, but if you have that insecurity, you've considered it. I would say 50% of the people we know are happy they did it, who have them, and 50% are unhappy.
Well, and you know, Kylie even said herself that because she had it right before she had her baby Stormy, and she regretted it because she felt like she couldn't be, there for Stormy, and she was still healing after she had the baby, and so at first she did regret having the boob
That's
job.
what we should have also followed up with, Kylie. Do you regret it? All right. Well, should we get plastic surgery? Let us know. And if we do, we'll share it with you. I'll be honest, I'm still debating it, and I think it's something that maybe changes over the years. All right. When we come back, the latest on Diddy and Lively, what Blake Lively is taking back in court.
Welcome back to Through the Drama. Kris and Lauren with you. It is week 4 of the Diddy trial, and things continue to heat up in New York. Currently, a couple of witnesses are testifying this week, and I want to talk about a couple of key points. And to do that, we're going to bring in our legal expert, Loni Coombs, who has joined us throughout this trial and has done such a fabulous job of putting everything into perspective. And Loni, the security guard from the hotel where Cassie Ventura was viciously beaten by Diddy, and that video, the surveillance video, apparently was purchased by Diddy for $100,000. And the defense is not denying this.
No. And Kris and Lauren, it's amazing that when you hear the security guard testify about this, it literally sounded like a movie, right? So he's working that day that it happens. He gets this phone call from Diddy's chief of staff, essentially. Her name is Christina Corman. We've heard about her throughout this case. We're wondering if she's going to testify. They call her KK. She's kind of like his first lieutenant, right? And this is really the best evidence the prosecution has put on so far about this criminal enterprise. So he says that he gets this phone call from KK, and she says, we really need that video. And he says, I can't do it. I'm sorry. You have to talk to the management. You have to give a subpoena. Then there's another phone call. Now Diddy gets on the phone, and he's saying, hey, man, I really need this. This could ruin me. Help me out. He's saying, I still can't do it. Then he gets a phone call that night on his personal cell phone from KK and Sean Combs. And he says, I didn't give them my cell phone. I'm kind of nervous now because I don't know how they got my number. They're saying, you really need to do this. I'll take care of you, is what Sean Combs says. So he talks to his boss. The boss says, okay, we'll do it for 50 grand. So he tells Sean Combs, we'll do it for 50 grand. They arrange where to meet. He gets a thumb drive. He brings it to him. And he says, Combs was so excited and happy. He goes, I was nervous the whole time. My voice is cracking. He has him sign an NDA. And the NDA is on corporate letterhead. It's on Sean Combs' company letterhead. I mean, I don't know what he's thinking. And he has him sign it. And in there it says, if you violate this agreement, you're going to have to pay me $1 million. I mean, this is a security guard. He's making about $10 an hour, right? So he signs it. He says Combs then leaves the room, comes back with a brown paper bag and a money counter. And he literally counts out not $50,000, but $100,000 in cash, gives it to him and says, don't buy any big purchases. Essentially the security guard goes, he probably doesn't want the attention. He says he walks him out to his car, and he was actually anxious that he was going to follow him. So he keeps checking to see if he's behind him. It's just crazy to hear how this unfolded. But again, this goes to that criminal enterprise, because as they're counting out the money to pay him off, KK is in the room. One of Diddy's security guards are in there. So this is kind of showing you, visualizing this criminal enterprise.
But Loni, is that a crime? I don't know if this is a dumb question, but I mean, he's buying a videotape from someone. So is that a crime? How much does this moment with the security guard matter in the charges?
Yeah, great question, because this is exactly what the defense is going to argue, right? People buy off other people's silence all the time. It's not a crime. NDAs, they're not a crime. They're all legal. So they're going to say, look, he's a celebrity. He doesn't want this video to get out. It's going to be damaging. And so that's what he's doing. The prosecution is saying this is a bigger picture. You have to look at everything, because talking about this criminal enterprise, obstruction of justice, he knows this is consciousness of guilt. He knows he did something wrong. The prosecution is saying that tape is video. It's evidence of her being coerced in this freak off, and that she's trying to escape. So that's why that tape is so important. And he understands that. That's why he's going to these extreme means to try and get that tape. So it really depends on how you frame this evidence. And that's what I keep saying about this case. The evidence is going to be there for the prosecution to argue that all the elements are shown here to prove the crimes. But the defense is just going to reframe it and say, no, nothing criminal here. He's just trying to protect his image here.
Yeah, and that's what the defense said. This is just to, save his image, and it wasn't to obstruct justice. So it is very, very interesting.
The saddest part to me was the reveal from the security guard that Diddy put Cassie on the phone and had Cassie tell the security guard, no, I don't want this video to come out either. It would be bad for my career. I mean, it's all very sad and gross to listen to. But I will say 4 weeks in, I start to think it's really becoming about Diddy and Cassie's relationship from what I'm hearing and everything. And it didn't shock me that he paid him off for the video. It's interesting to me that we still don't know how the video ultimately came out. That's still a mystery. But do they need to still add more than Diddy and Cassie here to get him convicted? How are things looking a month in?
So they're actually going to be calling another victim. So it won't be just Cassie. Jane, and that's a pseudonym, is going to be testifying either today or tomorrow. And that will bring more evidence in. But, Lauren, I hear a lot of people in your position saying, I still don't see it. And at this point, if you're still not seeing, you may not see it by the end of the prosecution case. I think a lot of it comes down to how you really view these witnesses and if you accept the defense frame of the evidence, right? Because they are very strategic. They're very smart to go out there at the very beginning and say, look, he's a bad guy. He's a violent guy. He's an abusive guy. But these are not criminal enterprises. This is not sex trafficking.
Loni, we only have about a minute left. I wanted to touch on this Blake Lively, Justin Baldoni situation that came up on Monday where the two were withdrawing. Well, Blake Lively's team wanted to withdraw the emotional distress claims, and the judge has thrown it out. So it seems like a win for the Baldoni team.
Well, absolutely. So it's interesting that you bring this up because this really shows to me that Lively sort of just threw everything against the wall here and never thought she was going to get a strong opposition here. So she threw out that she had emotional distress claims. Anytime you have emotional distress claims, just like if you argue that you were physically abused, your medical records are going to come into evidence, right? The opposition can say, well, I want to see the medical records. I want to see your therapist records. When Baldoni said that, then all of a sudden she's like, no, I want to drop these claims. And that's exactly what happened. But they're still fighting over whether it's with prejudice or without, which means that it can come back. She can bring those claims again. But the judge said, look, regardless whether it's with or without, I'm now going to bar you, Blake Lively, from bringing up the emotional distress claim. We're just going to make it clear that way. It's not coming up in this case.
Loni Coombs, our legal expert, always putting things in great perspective. Thank you so much. When we come back, can sunflower seeds be turned into a bomb? One celebrity almost got in trouble for it.
We're back with one more note on the Blake Lively, Justin Baldoni thing. I mean, I want to read some of these headlines because this move, this emotional distress claim, feels like a big change in the case. Deadline Hollywood covered it saying, Blake Lively's emotional distress claims are dead on arrival. Judge rules in win for Justin Baldoni. And I feel like Blake keeps doing things and then her team, like Baldoni's lawyers respond and then her team says his lawyers keep doing these press stunts. But like this, it feels like the judge ruled pretty clearly for her here. You know what's never happened since this case came to light? There's been a bad hit on the Baldoni team. Yeah. It's always been Blake Lively retreating. And that's what Loni was kind of alluding to. Blake Lively and Ryan Reynolds threw everything at the wall and they just thought, this is how you steamroll somebody. This is how you destroy someone's life and just move right through them. And they never fight back. It happens all the time in Hollywood. Well, Justin Baldoni got a great lawyer in Brian Friedman and he fought back. And very little of what Lively has claimed is holding water. And when you go into the emotional distress stuff and a lawyer says, yeah, show us the receipts. Yeah, I think it stemmed right from she was saying, essentially, it seems like she didn't want to show her medical records. But if you do an emotional distress claim in a court of law, you're going to have to share your medical records. And did you get therapy and that kind of thing? It's the difference between a press campaign and the court of public opinion and the actual court. Again, it just feels like we were just going to bowl over this guy and get what we wanted. And someone said, no, wait. And no one's ever said, wait, before. Well, a new report from People magazine, which I don't trust every outlet on, the source claims here, but a new report saying that Blake and the Taylor Swift friendship is not what it used to be, that they are not friends that they were before. Taylor Swift did not like getting dragged into all this. Taylor's team very carefully, with a scalpel, removed her from all of this. And so she's away from the mess. And I think they helped Baldoni's team as well. Well, pivoting now to something that is serious, but is also hilarious. I wanted to ask you about this because you traveled so much for The Bachelor over the years. Ellen Pompeo, as in our gal from Grey's Anatomy, revealed she was detained by TSA at the airport this year over sunflower seeds, that her sunflower seeds from Erewhon, no less, so they weren't cheap. Probably like $90 seeds. They set off some kind of chemical alarm and she almost missed her flight over this. What happened here, Chris Harrison, flight expert? And were you ever detained by TSA? First of all, what cracks me up is she's like, yes, they were the organic seeds from Erewhon. And if you don't know Erewhon, this is where you go get the $20 Hailey Bieber smoothie. That's real. You can see it on TikTok. But
I've been detained because, you know, I would travel with like powders a lot, you know, like protein powders or pre-workout. And you always get, you know, usually they just run it real quick and it shows it's not explosives. The problem with her is whatever the packaging Erewhon is using apparently sent off all the bomb detectors. And so she was pulled in and almost missed her flight. She was detained for an hour until the bomb squad could come in and figure out what happened.
The bomb squad. It sounds like an episode of Grey's Anatomy.
It does.
I'll rip that from the headlines and use it in the show. All right, from one hit show to another, want to talk about this. Patrick Schwarzenegger, son of Arnold, having a huge year this year because he was on The White Lotus. It was HBO's biggest show in months, and if not years, and a real breakout role for him. But Patrick had gotten a bit critiqued in the past because he kind of came out against the Nepo baby claims, which is the idea that when you're the son or daughter of somebody in Hollywood, people think, well, you got a leg up. Patrick addressing that with his dad in Variety's Actor on Actors interview series. In this new interview, here's what Patrick revealed about his last name.
There were times earlier in my career where I was wondering, you know, does it make sense to go under some sort of alias? Does it make sense to go under a different name? Do I just use Schwarzenegger? Does that add to comparison? Does that, whatever? And ultimately, I mean, what you've done with your last name and what you've built is incredible.
Patrick thought about dropping Schwarzenegger.
Well, and I listened to this whole thing that you sent me, and first of all, I really enjoyed that talk between the father and son. But what he was saying, because at first, you see the headlines and he's like, he denies being a Nepo baby and almost dropped the name. You're like, oh, come on. But what he really said was it's a blessing and a curse. And even Mark White,
creator of White Lotus.
From White Lotus said, I almost didn't cast you, and that it is a burden because people will see the Schwarzenegger name and they have a certain connotation. And so I get, he wasn't going all out saying, I'm not a Nepo baby. What he's saying is that it's been both a blessing and a curse.
No, but he'd weighed in on it a little bit before. I think that the mistake that like any kid of a Hollywood star makes is when they get annoyed about the Nepo baby term and when they say like, well, no, I worked hard for this. It's like, nobody's denying that you worked hard. You might have done all the acting classes and all the things, but also you can't deny that being the son or daughter of, Johnny Depp, like Lily Rose Depp, helps you get in a room, you know? Of course that gives you a leg up. And
in this interview, Arnold Schwarzenegger says, like, I've worked with Jamie Lee Curtis. She's probably, the greatest actress of this generation. She's a Nepo baby.
Yeah.
And you look at Robert Downey Jr. He's like, he brought
everybody
in Hollywood is. You would be shocked in how many people change their name and you realize, oh, that's the, son of Francis Ford Coppola or something. You're like, okay, I get it.
To be honest, the name change things feels a little smart to me because your parents are still going to know the right people. Right. They can still help you get in the room, but the public might not realize as quickly.
I've never been against the Nepo baby thing. I think you still have to make your way. You still have to prove eventually that you are talented. If it helps you get in the door.
You're not going to get parts if you're horrible.
God bless you.
And I think Patrick Schwarzenegger has taken a lot of time, and he was great on White Lotus. And so he's put in the work and gotten there, and it was really nice to see this moment between the two of them.
One of my favorite human beings in Hollywood, Clint Eastwood.
You do love Clint.
He's 95 years old. I've had the pleasure and honor of meeting him and getting to know him over the years. He is back directing a new film at 95 years old. Thoughts?
What's wild is everybody kept saying with that last movie that he put out, the jury movie that I'm forgetting the name of, people were upset it wasn't going to theaters because people kept saying, what if this is the Clint Eastwood's last movie? Well, it's not. He's on the Tom Cruise path. He's never retiring. You always have this great quote from Clint that you say about life, period.
Yeah, so Clint Eastwood had this it turned into a great Toby Keith song, God rest his soul. But Clint Eastwood said, I don't let the old man in.
And he's not now.
And I love that quote. And I take that to heart too. I don't let the old man in. You got to keep going. You got to keep grinding. You got to keep working. Keep your passions alive. Stay active. Clint Eastwood I used to get his Christmas card from time to time. He has tons of animals and turtles, and he's always been so active.
It's Clint Eastwood, zoologist, who knew?
Yeah, he is.
The thing is, that's exactly what he's saying in this new interview. He's telling filmmakers, if you don't have anything new, if you're just going to be sequeling and rebooting, he said, stay home. He said, make something new or stay home. And he said the secret to his longevity and why he's still working at 95 is that he's always learning new things, doing new things. And he kind of is saying something you and I have had an issue with, which is we are tired of the sequels and reboots.
Yeah.
Give us something original.
Don't go away, Clint Eastwood.
Don't let the old man in, and don't let the reboots out.
But one Hollywood actor is stepping away, and that's Mark Hamill. Luke Skywalker, famously, he's 73 years old, and there is a kind of a new Rise of Skywalker incarnation coming out from Lucasfilms, and he's saying, I'm done. I am not reprising my role. Even the ghost of Skywalker, I am not going to be a part of this film. It's been enough. Thank you, but I'm stepping away.
This is wild. So they have announced a new Star Wars movie. It's the new Jedi Order, and it's going to be the story of Rey continuing on. And I mean, that's the thing. I think he had to put it in clear terms because you can come back as a Force ghost. That's what they're called, a ghost of the Force.
When he said, he goes, by the way, when I disappeared in Last Jedi, I left my robes behind. There's no way I'm going to appear as a naked Force ghost. So respect.
I think it's a little sad that he's saying
I do too.
Luke Skywalker is done with Star Wars. Yeah. It really, truly is the end of an era. To me, the success of Star Wars, even though we have this universe, is all about good storytelling. So whether this new movie will be good will be all about whether they can give us those same characters in that good story like Luke Skywalker that have stuck with people for decades. Will you miss Luke?
Oh yeah, he was a part of my childhood. I mean, it was such a big part of my life, all those Star Wars movies. But I also respect the fact he's like, look, I'm 73. It's time to move on.
And I think he's saying if they don't move on and evolve with new stories, it's not going to be good for Star Wars overall.
Thank you so much for joining us today. Thank you for going through the drama with us. You can join us each and every day right here on Merit, or listen to us wherever your favorite podcasts are found. And we will do it again tomorrow because we have a lot more drama to get through.
May the Force be with you. Thanks, everybody.
Hey, Dr. Phil here. My network, Merit TV, has it all.
Now, let me blow your mind.
Merit TV's got the news that matters.
The selection of a new pope.
Entertainment you crave.
Busted.
Everybody in a good mood today?
And live events.
Surprise.
What am I, chopped liver?
With serious punch.
Big shot.
Go to merittv.com and download the Merit TV app today.